How's it going, guys? Today was a pretty rough day for me. I want to say, like 1 for 4. One of the trades was a 0 day. I was kind of taken, sold some at 30%, sold the rest like minus 30%. So we'll stick with 1 for 4 on the day. Pretty much called it a day after 8 a.m. or something. Um, I really overestimated the amount of chop that we would get leading up to FOMC minutes. I had a bullish bias, but ended up working towards the end of the day. But I was expecting a run up before the minutes, and I was wrong on that. So I got caught multiple times trying to time a breakout predeterminedly, which ended up costing me. So once I was 1 for 4, I pretty much went straight to bed, took a nap, and was like, you know what? No point of trading the rest of the day. Saw a couple of setups, but usually once I've lost 3 trades, that's it for me. So let's go over what we had today. Google was the first trade that I made. This was my successful trade, and it was the one trade that shouldn't have been successful. That's how trading goes. So I was taking this as a retest, and I pretty much got in. I got in close to a perfect entry, and that's because I was planning on I wanted to make my entry as close to my stop loss as possible. These Google cons they move quick, so I got in around 120.75, got a great fill, and I actually got 30% out of this trade. So I sold 50% on this wick, and I will say I got extremely lucky here. This doesn't look like a winning trade, but for me, somehow it was. So I got in on this wick at 7 a.m. and I sold 50% at this wick. We had this um, we have this supply zone from yesterday. So got out half and then it knifed, sold the rest at break even. So that was a successful trade because I got out half at 30%. But things started going south once I went back to SPY, and SPY was chopping around like crazy. So the first, actually, sorry, I had one more winning trade. So we went 2 for 4, 2 for 5. So I went 2 for 5. So I actually started off the day 2 for 2. I had this one right here. This was a SPY put that I played. Left a lot on the table here. I will say I was, since I had a bullish bias and I was expecting us to pump, I sold these way too early. So I got in after this bearish hammer. Once we got this bearish hammer rejection of this 50 MA and this high of day of, high pre-market resistance, I entered puts, and I think I sold most on this next candle. So I think I got like 20%. We held this demand zone right here, and I honestly thought low day was put in. However, it was not, and we continued to ride the 50 EMA. So the next play that I took that I actually got burnt on was I switched to calls. I was trying to time a falling wedge breakout right here, and you could see kind of a falling wedge, but really not really. There, it just isn't enough. It's not like obvious enough for me to actually take that. So I got in pretty much while this candle was knifing, which is something I will always try not to do. Is when price is not going in my direction, but I still am going to enter. Um, so I got in while the price was knifing, and then I pretty much sold the candle directly after. Then, of course, ended up reversing because we broke low day. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go next day. Next trade that I took was a 0 day, and this one was also very annoying. So I had this trend line drawn, and I could see now the difference. If you draw a trend line like this, of course, trend lines are always subjective like that. But for me, I thought we had a successful trend line break. I was looking at this with a retest on this candle, and then of course got knifed out. Once we got this inverted hammer right here, I was stopped out. So I did take a 0 day on this. So I got like, I want to say around 25% that I did sell half on, but then I also took another position, which was my, say, real position on it once we got that trend line break. The 0 day I took on here, and I'll show you why. This is a setup that I would take again. This 15-minute reversal setup. Um, this is a very bullish candle setup, and this is something that I would take again. And I would like to say that this didn't work out for me because of the fact that it was FOMC minutes later, and I shouldn't have been expecting some sort of trend, because you could see from yesterday we had a trend line break, which led to breakout. Day before, same thing. We had a trend line break that led to breakout. So I was thinking, all right, it's happened a lot. I think actually we had it. Yep. I was thinking, okay, well, we've had it the last 3 days. Why not now? And of course, it's not always the case when you have a different type of catalyst. So we had those FOMC minutes. I ended up getting burnt on them trying to guess a trend early on. So the last trade, I don't remember if this was the last trade, but just another example of me trying to force something that wasn't there. I tried playing Apple calls right here, and I had this wedge drawn, which it's just for me looking back on it, I'm going to say this was an extremely stupid trade because yes, we have a higher low and we also have a lower high, but it's really just not much there. We have 2 points put in on both sides of the trade. So from a risk reward perspective, it's just not there. And just the fact that it was early on in the day that we had no direction yet. So this ended up being a very stupid trade because once again, I inched on the knife. I was trying to time calls perfectly and pretty much was stopped out right below. So of course, these trades weren't like I took big losses because I was stopped out pretty quick, but they were still looking back extremely stupid because I can go back and say, okay, well, we have this demand zone right here, and we were creating these lower highs. This is a perfect breakout to take, and I can go back and look at SPY, and there was a couple plays later on the day which I was looking back on, and I was like, all right, these are plays that I should be taking, um, but I used up all of my, I would say, mind taking, trying to force things early on in the day, which resulted in me not being able to take the actual good setups later on the day. So I think I was coming off of a good day yesterday. I was trying to force something that wasn't there, and I didn't take into consideration how important FOMC minutes would be, considering the amount of chop that we got earlier in the day. So no worries, it wasn't a big red day. It was just one of those days where like, crap, what am I doing? Tomorrow we're gonna get back at it. I'm seeing tons of opportunities on SPY. We have some kind of an inside day. We got this lower high going on right here, so it should be a lot of fun. It's a Thursday. Thursdays are usually my favorite day of the week to trade. So we'll be back at it tomorrow. Hope you guys had a good day. Thank you.